Welcome, dear listeners, to the Speak and Flow podcast, where we dive into unique experiences to help you and your team achieve maximum potential and flow. Today, I have the honor of introducing my esteemed guest from Harvard MGH, neuroscientist to internationally renowned serial entrepreneur. He's a digital imaging expert, visual effects VFH pioneer, Dr. Barry Sandrew, with over 37 patents and an expert of featured films and TV accomplishments. Hi, Dr. Sandrew. Welcome.
Hi, Melinda. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. I am so excited about our conversation today. Before we dive into the meat and potatoes of what we're going to talk about with presentations, you obviously have had so much success in your career, and you're going to share some of the secrets to doing that. But before we get into that, can you share more about all the amazing things that you've done so far in the TV industry?
Yeah, well, I think the highlights are that I have my doctorate in neuroscience, and I was on staff at Harvard Medical School and Mass General Hospital. But I didn't let my degree define me. I actually left all of that at the urging of Ted Turner, who created CNN. And he asked me to invent a process for colorizing black and white movies so I could save his MGM library from going into public domain, which I did. And that caused a lot of controversy, but the more controversy that occurred, the more successful I became. So I left academia and became a serial entrepreneur in Hollywood. Did a lot of visual effects, like for Scorsese did The Aviator and a few other things. But then in 2007, I invented a process for converting movies from 2D to 3D, which is the de facto method of creating 3D movies. And my team and I produced the 3D portion of about 65% or 65 of the most successful films that came out of Hollywood
Wow.
in the past 12 years.
And so in all that, how did you know which direction to go?
No, I
In
wish I
all
could.
that, had the
I wish I could tell you there was a grand plan. There wasn't. I just take things as they come. But
yeah.
I'm able to somehow recognize opportunities at the
Mhm.
right time and jump on them. And I'm not afraid to jump on them. I'm not afraid of
Yeah.
mistakes and actually go the wrong direction. Unfortunately, in most cases, I haven't gone the wrong direction.
Yeah. So you see, you're in this challenge here. And so you see the opportunity, you see the problem, and then a solution comes, a big idea.
That's
Is
right.
that
I mean,
what?
just recently in the past year, I was awarded 3 patents in artificial intelligence because I saw a vacuum in education where professors needed to understand the authenticity of a student's responses rather than sleuthing around to see if they're cheating with
Uh-huh.
plagiarism using
Uh-huh.
ChatGPT. Well, I created
Oh.
a solution for that, and we're testing that right now at Westcliff University.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness, because my daughter's still in school and I wonder what they're doing and how they're monitoring this.
So this will help.
Oh, that's going to be great. Awesome. How innovative is that? And so, with so much success, it didn't come right out the gate. So, tell me, what are some times in the past, some of the more difficult times where, okay, something didn't go well, a presentation didn't go well, the team is not performing like you want it to? Like, tell me about
That,
that.
that's a good question. It's really easy to explain that because early in one of my startups, we were so focused on the technical brilliance of our product that we failed to communicate its value effectively to investors in particular. And this is a classic example of building something amazing, but not testing whether we could convey its relevance to the audience. It's the equivalent of developing a product without validating consumer demand. We didn't know whether consumers actually wanted it. And
Mhm.
yet we were out there presenting it as the savior of the world. During a critical pitch, our presentation was overly technical, lacking
Mhm.
clear, concise narrative, and that
Mhm.
tied the product to a real problem and its solution. The
Mm.
result was that the investors were disengaged. We missed out on a major funding opportunity, but the experience taught me and my team the importance of validating or validated learning, not only for the product, but how we present it. We
Mhm.
started iterative feedback loops. That's important. Iterative feedback loops to our presentations. So in other words, we put it out to potential customers, got feedback. You build, you test and measure, and then you learn and you
Mhm.
revise. You have to do that. Otherwise, you're going to
Mhm.
present something to a group of people and they may have no interest in it whatsoever. So
Mhm.
this failure was a turning point for me. It helped
Mhm.
me shift my focus from explaining how of the product and rather than how of the product, but to demonstrate the why of the product.
Mhm.
And this
Right.
really positioned us for greater success.
Yeah, yeah. So many times are we so excited about a product or an idea or a service, and we invest all this time, all this energy because we think it's going to be the savior of the world, and we want it to be perfect. We want it to look great, and then by the time you get it out there and you communicate it, people are just like just glazed over eyes.
Yeah. Eric Ries is a guy who came out with a book called The Lean Startup Framework. And
Hmm.
it's my Bible essentially.
Okay.
You don't need a lot of money, you don't need a lot of people to create a startup. You don't need a minimum viable product can be, pocket change to create. That's all you need.
Hmm.
Zappo is one company. Look up Zappo and how it originated, and there are many other ones like Dropbox is another one. The CEOs of these two companies basically created a minimum viable product in their bedroom within a couple hours. And they were both billion-dollar exits ultimately.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay, we'll have to put the quote and the name of the book in the show notes too, and I'm gonna pick that up as well. Because I often wonder, am I at the place where I'm spending too much time, yeah, refining things before getting it out there, communicating it, which is what you're saying is like build something small, make it minimal viable product. But that's where I don't know, like what is minimal, where do you cross the
Well,
line, at
well,
what threshold?
well, can I give
Yeah.
you those two examples? I don't know how much time we have,
Yeah.
but we'll give you those two
Yeah.
examples. All right, in Zappos, this was early on with the internet, and this guy, the CEO, wanted to sell shoes online.
Right.
And investors, no way. People will not buy shoes online. They're going to want to try them on, look at that little mirror, test them out, walk around. No one's going to buy them online. So what he did was he created a website on his own. It was like a little storefront. And he went to local retailers, shoe retailers, and he took pictures of their shoes and he posted it on their website and he
Hmm.
took orders for those shoes, even though he didn't own
Hmm.
them, it was somebody else's. And if somebody bought them, he would go to the retailer, buy them at full retail, and then ship them out to the people. So he proved, and it was very successful. He proved that it actually worked. I think he sold that company ultimately for $1.3 billion to Amazon. Dropbox is
Hmm.
another one. Dropbox, the CEO never wrote one line of code. There were file sharing companies around, applications around, but none of them quite like Dropbox. Well, he actually did a mock-up of what it would look like to do, basic,
Hmm.
very basic, no programming or anything. And
Hmm.
he created a video out of that and posted it on a techie site with
Hmm.
hundreds of thousands of viewers. And overnight, he got 75,000 signups.
Hmm. Hmm.
And there again, that company was sold for,
But
millions of dollars.
So if someone's going at it for about a year, 2 years, then that means there's probably not a good market for it.
Oh, way too long.
Way too long. Okay, okay,
If you
okay. So
can't get
you
traction
6 months.
if you can't get traction within 6 months, forget it. You got to do something
Okay,
else.
okay, got it, got it. This is very helpful. I love that. I love that. So like you're saying, get the traction, test it, and then use good communication, assuming that you learn how to communicate it. Like what is you have the product or service, but then also communicate it well. Like what are
Well,
the things that you're saying?
you'll
Uh-huh.
have to actually you have to define your customer base. We'll find out
So
whether what your product people actually want it.
right,
I've had a lot of clients because I also do a lot of consulting. I have a lot of clients who who started to do who created a startup and got a lot of money and built the entire application
right,
for the web before they even knew if anybody was going to use it.
right, right,
Time.
right,
Total waste of
right,
time.
right, right. Right. So don't do that. Build the MVP, minimal viable product, and then talk about the
Test
why.
it,
Talk more
test
about
it,
the why
and test it, and
and
actually
test it.
out there and test and see if anybody's interested.
Right.
And also, um, it's like showing a crayon picture that you show your mom. Your mom's going to say, "Oh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I love what you did." You
Right.
can't ask people whether they would like it or whether they want to buy it. If there's nothing invested from those people, then their opinion doesn't really matter.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if they just log on and say, okay, I'm signing on, that's good. Even if they don't put any
Hmm.
money in, but as long as they put their name in there and they sign on, all right, well, that's a legitimate yes, you've got something.
Right. 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 I love that. And what is the difference between once you started to learn this and implement this across your teams or across what you're doing? What was the result of that? What were the outcomes?
Well, the result is a total, I mean, much more efficient startup operation and
Uh-huh.
basically more success. You know,
Uh-huh.
the we spend less time, spinning our wheels and more time just finding out what the customer, what your client, what your customer ultimately wants.
Hmm.
Even if you just describe it and you say, okay, we'd like to know if you'd commit to getting something like this, would you actually submit a signature for a sign-on? That's
Hmm.
all you need. That's all you need. Because then
Hmm.
investors will say, okay, well, there might be something there.
Mm. Right. 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 What do you think holds people back from doing it?
Ego. A
Mm.
lot of times. I'll tell somebody, no, don't go to Southeast Asia and get this thing totally developed. Don't spend $150,000 to build this website that shows off and actually has a functional application before you even know if anybody wants to do it. And the
Mhm.
fact and but several times, um, my clients have said, no, this is the way I want to go because how are people going to know what it's going to be like if I don't actually show them? Well, there are
Right.
different ways to show them, just like
Right.
I told you about Zappos and
Right.
Drop. You
Right.
can, for pennies, you don't have
Right. Right.
to do it.
Right. That's the key. Like think outside the box of how we can show them without really developing the whole thing.
That's right.
There's other ways you can do it. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Love that. So then and then so what okay, I'm gonna just end with one last question because I think that there's so much value in what you just shared, and I certainly learned a lot in terms of getting the MVP out there, communicating the value to your ideal client. Who are the clients? What is it that they want? And then communicating that in a way, more of the why versus the technical pieces of it. Like, why is it important to you? How's this gonna help you? And communicating those aspects of it.
Exactly.
And then therefore you're going to be able to have more success. There is a very clear strategy and a way of building a company or a business.
That's right.
Thank you. And I'd like to ask you the last question I like to ask all my guests. What is that one leadership takeaway that you want the guests to remember?
Oh, well, to me, leadership in a startup, and I'm focused mainly on startups because I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've had a lot of success with startups. Leadership in a startup is about building a critical mass of loyalists and believers who share your vision, even if they don't
Mm,
have specific expertise in, it really doesn't matter. I took, high school students to, directly into my company, and they became the leads and the executive management ultimately. In my various
mhm,
startups, I was exploring uncharted territory, and the most
mhm,
transformative progress came from working with people who weren't afraid to roll up their sleeves, take on um, any roles outside their comfort zone, which is really important, outside their comfort zone, and to experiment with unproven ideas. A
mhm,
textbook organizational structure in a startup is the fool's task. If
mhm,
you create an organizational structure, a hierarchy, you're wasting your time. Instead, you need
mm,
the courage to embrace uncertainty and try
mhm,
new approaches. This ties directly to not being afraid to take calculated risks. Failure, I always tell my students, is the most powerful learning tool. John Maxwell is a famous lecturer and leadership expert. He puts it: fail early, fail often, but always fail forward. The key
mhm.
is to create a culture where failure isn't seen as a dead end, but as a
Right.
stepping stone toward innovation. Every setback offers an opportunity to learn, iterate, and improve. If you don't take a risk, if you don't put yourself out there and take a risk, you will fail.
Mhm,
99% of the time, you will fail.
mhm,
As a
mhm.
leader, your role is to encourage these risks, support your team.
Yeah.
Things don't go planned, and keep everyone aligned to the mission. In
Yeah.
the in the lean startup framework, there's build, measure, learn cycle from the lean start. It's not just for products, it's for people, processes, and strategies. Leadership is about fostering a relentless belief in forward progress where every failure moves you closer to success.
That is so, I got the chills. I got the chills. It's powerful. It's powerful, and I've heard this all before, but actually for me really resonates with me right now because I think I'm just getting faster. I mean, it would take me a lot longer to fail forward. But now with you just saying this over and over and ingraining it in me, it just feels more like, okay, I could do that. You know, it's easier, it's better. Like you said, failing is an opportunity for growth and learning, and so it's encouraging for me and to be reminded of that
Keep in
and
mind that,
actually feel,
yeah, keep in mind that you learn more from failure than you do from success.
yeah, right, right, right. Oh. And I it's so true. It's so true, and I think about my daughter, I think about how many times she's failed, and all of our failures do lead to a lot of our expansion and our
When
growth.
she fails, say, good. That's positive.
Good.
That's good. What did you learn from that?
Yeah. Yeah. And with I mean, I think that with AI and technology, I love how you said no hierarchy. It almost feels like we can all have a playing ground here with the
Oh, yeah.
technology that's happening. Like there's so much we could do.
Oh, for sure.
Everyone.
For sure. AI is changing everything right now. Hey, especially, within Hollywood, within the entertainment industry, everybody is an independent contractor now because they've got
Yeah.
the technology at home. They've got AI. It's getting to the point where a single person, an independent filmmaker, can actually create films using AI. Yeah, you don't need organizational structure. And I mentioned that most people in Hollywood are now independent contractors, and they've
Right.
got the technology. And independent filmmakers can actually make movies on their desktop. It's,
Yeah.
I think that's right after that it went up.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just start from there. Yeah, can you just say that most people, yeah, in Hollywood, just take it from there.
Yeah, AI is very, very powerful. In fact, Hollywood is being transformed because most practitioners, most visual effects in particular, practitioners, can work from home. They can work independently. And
Yeah.
AI is allowing independent filmmakers to actually create entire movies, or at least it's
Yeah.
going in this direction. It's not quite there yet, but it will be entire movies on their laptop at
Wow.
home. That's very exciting to me because for too long, it's been controlled by the big studios and big money, $100 million budgets and that sort of thing. And the independent filmmaker just picks up the scraps. Well, now they're on an even footage. Now
Wow.
the independent filmmaker can make really exciting, heavily visual effects heavy movies right on their laptop. So exciting.
Wow. That's exciting. That's amazing. I mean, and it goes the same to in all industries, across industries, a lot of roles, a lot of different areas of opportunities for a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people are afraid of AI, and they
Yeah.
really don't. I mean, if they're afraid of AI, they will be left behind.
Yeah.
They need to embrace AI, learn
Yeah.
it, and find out different ways that they can use it to make their lives and the lives of their employees better.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm bringing it into my business. And so it's very exciting what we can do here with AI and coaching and communication. Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Dr. Sandrew. It was really wonderful meeting you and hearing about your expertise. I definitely learned a lot. I'll take it and implement it. And how do people do are you looking for people if people can contact you if they have any additional questions? Is that okay that we put your
Oh sure.
contact information into the chat or into the show notes?
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah. Feel free to contact
What are
me.
your what are you consulting nowadays for
I'm
business?
all over that. I've got several startups that I'm consulting. I host an angel group every 2 weeks at Westcliff University, and I'm in partnership with Westcliff University on this AI business, this assessment business that was formed after I got my 3 patents in artificial intelligence. Again, when education really has no way, educators have no way of authenticating whether a student actually did their work or not,
Right.
or whether it was done with ChatGPT. And most of them spend most of their time just trying to figure out whether somebody's plagiarizing. They'll use applications like Turnitin to try to find out to try to catch somebody in the act of plagiarizing. I'm ignoring plagiarizing. I don't really care about plagiarizing. I care about whether they've learned anything or not. Even if
Mm,
they plagiarize something, if they've read through what they've plagiarized and checked all the references and all of that business, they've learned something.
mhm.
And that's really what matters. And so the technology that I developed that I'm going in partnership with Westcliff University on is going to, I think, be disruptive in a positive way to higher education.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I can't wait to hear more about it. I think
Great.
that's so important. And again, going, like you mentioned, taking a step forward, going into the unknown. And as you continue to do that to support the communities, the world, our students, thank you so much for your work, Dr. Sandrew. It's really
Oh, my
great.
pleasure. Thank you, Melinda. I really appreciate
Thank you.
taking the time.
Thank you. And dear listeners, thank you so much for joining us. I trust that you are going to take away your nugget for what you need to communicate to make more positive difference in the world. Appreciate you. Until next time, see you. Thanks for joining the conversation today. Are you curious on how you measure up with your ability to speak in flow? Come grab my free self-assessment at https://speakinflow.com/assessment. And I'll see you on the other side.